Hey y'all, today we're going to be making a low-carb Italian wedding soup in our Ninja Foodi.
Oh, we're having a whole lot of fun. Okay, so now all we're going to do is scoop up a big scoop and put into our bowl. Hey guys, welcome back to my camper kitchen. I am Cris from Recipes That Crock.
I am Mikey from RecepesThatCrock.com.
And today I have got a super exciting recipe for you guys because I've figured out how to do less dishes, guys. So, we are going to make Italian meatball soup, low carb style, in our Foodi.
One pot.
In one pot.
Using one mixing bowl.
Well, no mixing bowl. The pot will be our mixing bowl.
I use the mixing bowl though because you've got to make the meatballs for it. And literally it was, I used a fork, a mixing bowl, and then this.
You did not follow instructions.
Was I supposed to make it in that?
Uh-huh.
We're going to do this with one pot and you're going to use your imagination.
The reason I was so excited, I've got another dish to wash now, guys, and you didn't need to because you could mix it in the pot so that, we've had this conversation, so that...
I'm not making them again.
So that you could have the mixture that was left in the bottom of your mixing bowl would turn into brown bits for the soup. You remember the brown bits, dear?
I do now. Yes. So, here's what we got in the pot right now. So had I followed the proper instructions, you would see some stuff around the bottom of your pot that would be
not nice
the remnants.
And clean like this.
Yeah, like see that right there, that stuck right there? There'd be a bunch of that in the bottom.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do is this. I'll take a little bit of that. Sprinkle it on the side.
No need. We'll get enough of that with how we're going to air fry it. But
anyway, what you want to do is you want to follow our recipe for the low-carb meatballs, which is simply some sausage, some Parmesan cheese, some Italian seasoning, some salt, some pepper,
pork rinds.
And some pork rinds. Between that and one egg, that will bind everything together to get you 12 perfectly rounded meatballs that really, I was really, really proud of.
They look really nice, dear.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And if we were just making meatballs, that would be okay. Guess who's doing the dishes? Not this girl.
Okay, let me defend myself. Because one of the things you want to do is you want to take an egg and you have to scramble it up a little bit. And I would be absolutely terrified to use a fork in that container.
No,
I probably could have used like a spatula or something, but but I didn't think like that. Evidently, I'm not perfect.
Okay, it's
like my
okay.
meatballs.
It's all right. So we're still saving another utensil that we would get dirty in here by not using the air fryer basket. So since we're going to make this into a soup and we want all the yummy remnants from making the meatballs themselves, what we're going to do is just air fry them down in the pot. And they don't have to be completely perfectly done when we're done because we're going to pressure cook afterwards. We just kind of want to crisp up the edges and get some of those nice brown bits. And so that's what we're going to do.
The main thing is whenever you're doing these meatballs like this down in this pot, make sure that there is room. You know, we're going to social distance our meatballs, if you will. That way that the air will circulate all around them and brown them up all around them.
So what does the recipe say for how long we're going to air fry this in our Foodi?
It says if you're going to do it in the Foodi, actually we've done it in our air fryer, we're going to go for 350 and we're going to go between 11 and 13 minutes until they're browned up really, really, really well. So
since we're going to do this, since we're doing it in the pot and not in an air basket, I'm going to go ahead and set it at the 13-minute mark. And then what we're going to do is dump in the rest of the ingredients that needs to pressure cook and stir and get those brown bits, what little we will have in the pot. I'm just giving him a hard time.
I'm so going to get fired.
We are so out of practice with this, and clearly our communication was a little off.
I've been out of town going back and forth playing shows and coming back and camping when I can and going out and playing more shows. So we're going to put this on for 13 minutes and we're going to have a talk. In 3,
you don't need to be there for
2, 1. Okay, it's been about 13 minutes and our meatballs are done, or should be. Let's take a look at them. And here we go, and as you can see, they've all kind of slid to one side, but that's because we're not cooking on a level playing field here. But look at that. You could still see, even though that I didn't mix it in there, there's still some brown bits in the bottom that have all cooked up. And that'll definitely give us some flavor, but look how they've really browned up right there. They look amazing. They'll taste so good in this soup. The soup of which will include the following ingredients. You want to have 6 cups of chicken broth, or let's say that I was the one looking in the cabinets a while ago and I could not find the chicken broth. If you need to, in a pinch, you can use beef broth. You're looking for some kind of a stock to give it flavor. Chicken and beef.
Well, and
it tastes good.
And this technique is going, because all the bits are already going to be down here. The broth is just going to add to that, and it's going to make it very flavorful, no matter if you use chicken, beef, or vegetable broth.
Besides, we're camping right now, so we're in survival mode. You got to use what you got because, well, you can't store near as much in there as you can in our kitchen.
Yeah.
But other than broth, you also need to have 10 ounces of riced cauliflower. Well, these packages are conveniently 10 ounces.
And that is because this is a low-carb recipe, so that's kind of taking place of rice in this soup for us.
You also want to have, we're outside, so if you see us doing this, we're not just waving you down. We're trying to keep the flies away.
Neighbors.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, our neighbors
I'm sure
over there
the smell is.
True. You also want to have 3 ounces of baby spinach. Now, when you buy a thing like this, this is a total of 6 ounces. This is the way that I would always measure my spinach. I knew that 3 ounces was a good man-sized fistful. I'm not sitting there being all sexist saying, well, it's got to be a man-sized fist, but it's half of this package. It's 6 ounces, so I can do the math, but I know I can reach in there, grab a fistful, and you got your spinach. You also want to have some seasonings here. You want to have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, as well as another tablespoon of the same Italian seasoning that you use to season your meatballs. And
depending on how your Italian seasoning is seasoned, it may make your meatballs and your soup a little bit more spicy. We've gotten some pretty hot Italian seasoning before, so just make sure you know what you're adding, and you can always add a little bit more at the end if you need to.
And then, in the same mixing bowl that I did wash, but I wanted to make sure and put in there so that we didn't have stuff scattered everywhere, so I had to use this mixing bowl. You want to have 3 ribs of celery, 1 carrot, and 3 green onions. I'm trying to get my finger in there. 3 green onions that you've chopped up.
So we are going to pressure cook all these ingredients except for the baby spinach. We're going to wait and stir that in at the end, and it does a really cool trick. So
make sure we get all that in there.
Yeah.
Oh, we want all that onions
Let's add
in there.
the broth next so we can start to loosen up our meatballs a little bit.
All right. So we know that this is 32 ounces, which is 4 cups. So we are 2/3 of the way there. My math is right. My math is usually not right.
Didn't know if you were going to do those big man handfuls of the broth too.
She's hilarious, y'all. She's the comedy relief here, let me tell you.
Okay, so now that the broth is in there, you can see that it's already released the meatballs off the bottom, so I don't have to tear up my meatballs, but I'm going to take my spoon lightly across the bottom so that the brown bits release too into the soup.
Look at that.
Yep.
All right, next you want to tear this open and pop in the riced cauliflower. And while you're doing that, I will toss in.
And this can go in frozen. Ours has been setting out, so it's slightly frozen.
Then about a tablespoon of your Italian seasoning. And of course, I'm not using a measuring cup or a measuring spoon or nothing like that because there are less dishes for Cris to do later. So approximate, and then you know how we are with garlic, but that minced garlic we'll put in a tablespoon, and then oops,
Michael,
we accidentally put some more in.
Okay.
And that is the base of all of your soup. So now
you fight your pressure cooker lid to get it on, because even though it goes on the same way every single time, and you've cooked with it for literally years, and there's an arrow that shows you how it lines up, it doesn't matter, you always mess up. There we go.
ta-da!
So we're going to make sure that our dial on top, our vent is turned to seal, and we're going to put this under high pressure for 15 minutes. And then we are going to quick release because pretty much everything will be cooked by then. You can do a natural release for 15 minutes and then do a quick release. It's up to you what time you've got going, but we're hungry.
Well, then I want to get this thing started.
Yes. The other thing you want to grab while this is cooking, you want your spinach, so you can stir that in at the end. And then you also want to grab maybe some Parmesan cheese. We like shredded Parmesan cheese in this soup really, really well. Oh, and maybe a couple bowls and spoons.
That's just more dishes.
All right, we'll see you back here in 3, 2, 1.
And we are back, and the soup is on. Check out that soup right there. Look at all that. Stir that up, baby. Of course, I put the spoon out of your way. Sorry.
Yep, it's all right. So we're going to stir this up, and we're going to add that 3 ounce of spinach. I'm going to do
manly fist.
I was going to say I'm going to do it with my girly hands, if that's okay with you. Jeez.
But they're so pretty. Look at those hands. Oh yeah.
So I'm just going to add about half of the container because I don't have Mike's, scientific measuring.
No, you just got those math skills that say half of 6 is 3. And then stir that. And why do we put this in at the end?
Well, we're waiting. You'll see the spinach start to turn a bright green. We don't want to overcook the spinach, and it just wilts right in there, and it's perfect. Just letting the heat wilt it. See how it turned that bright green and wilted it? Now
it's getting a little fogged up in the camera, but yeah, I see that now.
Okay, so now all we're gonna do is scoop up a big scoop and put into our bowl and top with a little parm. I need my paper towels, Kim.
Good job. Or in my case, a big bowl.
Yes.
And a lot of parm.
Did y'all see that? Do you see the difference in
I just grabbed the
bowls?
first 2 bowls that I could find that matched my appetite.
Oh, my hair's in my face.
And I haven't really had lunch, so
so he's going to eat all the meatballs. Now, I'll tell you a trick.
I made them. Wrong, but I made them.
I'll tell you a trick about this. Whenever your leftovers get to only having 1 to 2 meatballs and there's a lot of soup, sometimes I'll go in and I'll chop up the meatballs that are left.
Or just make more meatballs.
So that all the soup gets a little bit of meatball enjoyment, because that's definitely the highlight of this soup. So let's go for it, dear.
I've never been to an Italian wedding, so I can't really tell you if this is what they have at an Italian wedding.
Let's be very, very clear. We are not trying to be authentic. That's just what the original recipe that we started out with.
I've been to a Spanish wedding.
Yes.
Actually, it was half Spanish, half American, because the guy was from Spain, and our other friend was a gal from the United States. And so half of the wedding was done in Spanish, and then half of the wedding was done in English, but they did the full wedding twice. And it was a Catholic wedding.
Just keep talking.
Catholic weddings they run a little long anyway. That ceremony was 2 hours long. And at the end, they didn't have this soup. So I'm really happy we're just doing this today.
Yes. This bowl is really hot, or I would keep holding it up, but I'm going to actually set it down so I don't drop it.
I'm going to take a bite.
Very, very yummy. And we have all the campground flies trying to join us right now. So
well, that's because they're attracted to honey.
So tell me what you think, dear. This is one of our favorites. And why I was so excited is because I do like to make this, but it's a little labor intensive.
I brought the salt out, but we don't need it in there.
But whenever I figured out how to make it all in one bowl, wink, wink, and so I didn't have to use a lot of our water because we're semi-dry camping here. We don't have a water hookup. So I love the idea of being able to mix it in the pot and be able to air fry it in the pot without using the air fryer basket, and then also be able to pressure cook the soup. This is one of those recipes you could make multiple different ways. If you don't have a Foodi and you have an Instant Pot, you can always oven bake your meatballs and then do the pressure cook
or pan fry them.
Yes, but the really cool thing is if you do have a Foodi, this is one of those recipes where the Foodi just shines, because you can do all those steps all in one pot, and then it actually is a decently quick recipe for all the steps that you're having to take.
Well, you think of soup should take you all day to make, and this does not.
Oh,
and that spinach is so
good. Yes, it's so good together. absolutely one of our favorites. If you haven't tried it, I would love for you to try it and let us know what you think. This is one that we make for the family at the family campground too.
That extra amount of garlic that I put in there, not a bad thing at all.
And what I tend to do whenever I'm going to have more people is sometimes I'll even do a double batch of the meatballs so that everybody can have some of the meatballs.
But one thing you want to be careful of is you want to make sure and still you don't want to crowd your meatballs in there, so you might have to make them 2 batches, one at a time.
You can do that. The really cool thing is, because this isn't like for spaghetti and meatballs, because you will pressure cook them, they will continue to cook in the soup as well.
That's what the Parmesan cheese does.
But if you like this video, we'd love for you to give us a thumbs up. If you're not already a member of the Crock Posse, we'd love for you to click subscribe and become a member of our slow cooking family around here. If you'd like notified every time we upload a video, click the
ding-a-ling.
That's the notification bell down below, and that will tell YouTube to let you know, oh my goodness, every time we upload a video. But whatever you do, we hope you
laugh often,
eat good food,
and speak like.
Bye guys.
Bye y'all.
Are you okay?
Got it.
Joke about it not being Friday because we don't know what day it is.
Oh shoot.
That's hot, babe.
Water heater's on. That's why you put me on this side.
If you want to see the latest, click on the left right here. If you feel like subscribing, click on the right, my dear. And if you think we're funny,